Good afternoon. The heads of state of the Philippines, United States, and Japan call on China to stop using its Coast Guard in a coercive manner. In a joint statement, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., US President Joe Biden, and Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida expressed their serious concerns over China's aggressive behavior in the South China Sea. The leaders also remind China that the ownership of several areas in the West Philippine Sea has been settled in the July 2016 ruling of the Permanent Court of Arbitration. The leaders also say they oppose China's dangerous and coercive use of Coast Guard and maritime militia vessels in the South China Sea, as well as efforts in disrupting other countries' offshore resource. They also express their serious concern over China's repeated obstruction of Philippine vessels' exercise of high seas, freedom of navigation, and the disruption of supply lines to Ayungin Shoal. China claims it owns Ayungin Shoal. However, the arbitral ruling has addressed the issue regarding the Ayungin Shoal when it invalidated China's sweeping 9-line territorial claim. Ayungin Shoal, which sits around 315 kilometers from the tip of Palawan, is well within the West Philippine Sea, being inside the 370-kilometer exclusive economic zone of the country. Despite this, China believes that the Philippines is illegally occupying the shoal by deliberately parking Navy ship BRP Sierra Madre in Ayungin in 1999. The trilateral meeting between the Philippines, US, and Japan comes in the midst of an increased tension in the South China Sea. US President Joe Biden guarantees that any attack on a Philippine aircraft, vessel, or armed forces in the South China Sea will invoke the Mutual Defense Treaty. In his opening speech during the summit with Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. and Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida in Washington, D.C., Biden says that Washington's defense commitments to the two Asian countries are ironclad.
We're deepening our maritime and security ties. This is something I know you've discussed with Vice President Harris during her travel to the Indo-Pacific. And I want to be clear, the United States defense commitments to Japan and to the Philippines are ironclad. They're ironclad.
The U.S. President reiterates its stance on any attack that will be made against the Philippines in the South China Sea.
As I've said before, any attack on Philippine aircraft, vessels, or armed forces in the South China Sea would invoke our Mutual Defense Treaty.
The United States and the Philippines have had a mutual defense treaty in place for more than 70 years. The treaty requires both nations to send support if a party is being attacked. Biden's forceful reinforcement of the American commitment comes in the midst of persistent skirmishes between the Philippine and Chinese Coast Guards in the disputed South China Sea. According to the U.S. leader, the increasing security ties between the U.S., Japan, and the Philippines is crucial in maintaining a free, open, vibrant, and prosperous Indo-Pacific region. The Trilateral Summit is the first ever meeting between the three countries. The summit comes in the midst of an increased tension in the South China Sea, with Beijing's demonstration of hostile behavior and Philippine officials complaining about China's intrusive actions in the West Philippine Sea. China insists on the existence of a gentleman's agreement made during former President Rodrigo Duterte's tenure. In a press conference, Foreign Ministry spokesperson Mao Ning accuses the Philippine government of going back on its promise to tow away BRP Sierra Madre. She also accuses the Philippines of infringing on China's territory, further claiming ownership of Ayungin Shoal. However, Malacanang has already denied the existence of such promise. Mao's remarks came after President Bongbong Marcos said that he is horrified by the idea that the country's sovereign rights in the West Philippine Sea might have been compromised by the so-called gentleman's agreement between Duterte and China. Former presidential spokesperson Harry Roque previously claimed that Duterte's verbal agreement with China indicated that the Philippines may only deliver water and food to the BRP Sierra Madre grounded in Ayungin Shoal, but not construction materials to be used for its repairs. Roque stressed that the verbal agreement made no mention of removal of BRP Sierra Madre in Ayungin. But Roque's disclosure was denied by former presidential advisor Salvador Panelo, who claimed that the former president did not enter into any gentleman's agreement. Senator Francis Escudero apologizes for what he said was unauthorized use of the protocol license plate number 7 assigned to him by a luxury sport utility vehicle caught illegally using the Edsa bus lane. On April 11, traffic authorities caught a vehicle with a protocol license plate number 7 using the Edsa bus lane. In a statement, Escudero says use of the protocol plate was unauthorized as the vehicle was being driven by the driver of his family member. Escudero admits that the use of the number 7 protocol plate was abused because vehicles with these plates are not allowed to use bus lanes. The senator adds that he already directed the driver to appear before the Land Transportation Office and face the charges against him. Escudero adds that he would also surrender to the LTO the protocol plate involved in the incident, which he says he does not personally use. The senator apologizes to the public and to his fellow senators and ensures proper use of protocol plates entrusted to him in the future. Meanwhile, Escudero commends the authorities for their vigilance in responding to the incident as he reiterates his support for the government's efforts in ensuring observance of traffic regulations. Here's the latest roundup of today's top stories. Heads of state of the Philippines, US, and Japan call on China to stop using its Coast Guard in a coercive manner. US President Joe Biden guarantees that any attack on a Philippine aircraft, vessel, or armed forces in the South China Sea will invoke the Mutual Defense Treaty. And Senator Chiz Escudero says sorry for unauthorized use of number 7 protocol plate on Edsa bus lane. These are the stories you need to know today. I'm Neil Mercado. Follow INQUIRER.net on Facebook, X, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit. For more stories, visit INQUIRER.net. Good afternoon.